Hello there, my name's Tracy Elsom. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Canada, and today I am going to show you how I would go about designing a card. I've chosen this stamp set. It's a new one from the Stampin' Up! 2017 holiday catalogue. It's called Painted Harvest. It's a two-step stamp, which means that you would stamp normally one image and then you would stamp a second one over the top, and it layers up to create really detailed images for your projects. So this is the stamp set I'm going to use. I have mounted every stamp in the set onto blocks ready, because at the moment I really have no real idea what I'm going to do. I have chosen a couple of colours, a few colours. I'm going to use Very Vanilla as my base, and I have Crushed Curry, Old Olive and Pumpkin Pie as my accent colours, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I will start with a basic piece of card. So here's my piece of Very Vanilla card, and what I think I will do is just take some Old Olive ink and the leaf image, and I'm just going to stamp a couple on this piece of card. This is the first time I have used this stamp set. It's brand new. It's available to customers starting on the 1st of September. So we'll see how we get on. Right, may have to end up in the shot here just to see that I've got it in the right place. So you kind of just line it up over the top, eyeball it. There we go. It's close enough. And I have just used the same colour. That's Old Olive on the first image, Old Olive on the second image, but because they're layered up and the way the images are designed, you can actually get a depth of colour there. So that will do for a start. Then I think I will use some Pumpkin Pie ink. Let's pull that out. And I'm going to, on a separate piece of card, use it on this one, I'm going to stamp this large image. Now this image actually comes in the imaging sheet that comes with the stamp set. It's got a little arrow that points to one area. You probably can't even see it. There's a little arrow there, there's a little arrow there, and there's a little arrow there, and basically it shows me where to line up. So if this is where the arrow is, this is where the arrow is. If I line those up, I should end up with the right kind of image. Right, let's start with Crushed Curry, I think, actually. So we have some Crushed Curry. I have the main image, and I'm just going to ink that up with Crushed Curry, and I'm going to stamp this down on that piece of card with where the arrow was pointing in this direction, and I put a little sticker on my block just to remind me where that colour is. Now I'm going to stamp over the top with some Pumpkin Pie, and again, because I've got this little sticker, I know that if I put my images, line them up like this, I should get a nice effect. So the first one was Crushed Curry, the second one was Pumpkin Pie, and look at that, beautiful. Okay, so I need something darker for the inside of this image, and I think I will probably end up using Early Espresso. I do like my sunflowers to have a nice deep colour to them, so I'm going to use the little circle for the centre, and maybe it goes this way. So a little bit of Crushed Curry, and sorry, a little bit of Early Espresso, I should say. Stamp that in the centre, and there is my sunflower. Perhaps the Early Espresso is a little dark, but you know what, it will do. It will do. Okay, now I think I'm going to put an extra leaf in the middle there. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take crushed curry ink, and I'm going to use my sponge daubers to add some old olive ink to the image. So I've inked up that stamp with crushed curry, and I'm just going to add a little bit of old olive over the top. And we'll put that just in the middle there, like that. Okay, now there is a detailed stamp for that, and I'm going to use old olive again and just stamp that right over the top. There we go, and there's a little bit of extra detail there on that stamp. So that's that. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I think, is cut out that sunflower, and it doesn't take much. And when you have pieces like this with the petals that go in and out, you can either fussy cut this way, and as you can see, I'm making my scissors do the work, the card do the work. The scissors always point away from me, always pointing forward, and it's the card that gets turned, and it's the card that does the work while I'm cutting this out. So it won't take long, doesn't need to be too exact. It's got quite a soft edge to it. It's not like there's a big dark black outline to it that if you're not quite on it, it will be really obvious. If you have trouble staying really on the lines when you're cutting out things like that, then just deliberately don't go on the lines. That way nobody will know any different. They'll think that's the way you've designed it. So here we go. There are quite a few petals on this sunflower, as is the way you would expect. So here we go. Hopefully I haven't. You can actually see what I'm doing there. And every now and again I just cut the excess off just to make it easier to manoeuvre myself around the piece that I'm cutting out. Chat among yourselves while you're waiting. There we go. And we'll just finish with those bits. And the other nice thing with this particular image is that if you're not absolutely spot on with your layering, it doesn't really matter anyway, because nobody can tell what's supposed to be like. Okay, so I've got that done now. And thinking about how to put that in now. In fact, I'm not 100% sure about those leaves behind, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my old olive again and my leaves, and I'm just going to stamp some of these leaves like that, and I'm going to take the detailed leaf stamp and lay it over the top. There we go. And this sometimes happens when I stamp, I make things, I do something and then decide I'm not over keen on what I've done, so I may just change my mind. And what I'll probably do is keep this half, and it may end up being on another project with a little bit of a tweak to it. So what I've done instead is I've stamped those, and I've used a new punch that's coming out in the 2017 holiday catalogue called the Leaf Punch. It coordinates with this set. So now I have a couple of leaves, which actually I think looks much better. Okay, so I need a piece of card to put that on, and I think I may go with the crushed curry card. It's quite bright. Do I want it that bright? Do I prefer old olive? Or do I prefer it on some more very vanilla? There we go. I actually think I prefer that on the very vanilla. Now what I have is some pieces, as you've seen, of coloured card. I have cut these down so that they could be mats, and I could lay them up like that. In fact, I think I'm just going to go with the straight old olive mat. So we can start putting things together. I'm going to lay those like that. That will end up on there like that. And now I need a sentiment. Now this stamp set has some lovely sentiments. It has one, your kindness means so much more than you will ever know. I am thankful for you. Gather together and give thanks. So I think I'm going to go with the kindness. So here it is, it's all mounted up. And I think I'm going to use the early espresso. It was perhaps a little dark for the interior of the sunflower, but it will be perfect for my sentiment. So I'm just going to come in, have a quick look, make sure I can see what I'm doing. Try not to get my head in the shot. It's difficult to see. Normally I would get myself right over the top so that I can check exactly where I'm placing my image, my sentiment. So there we are with that. Now I think I'm going to add just a little bit more in there in the form of some ribbon or some twine. Or do I? Let me think. I think maybe have some old olive ribbon here. And I have some crushed curry. This is the mini chevron ribbon. I quite like the crushed curry against that. Again, just lay the pieces out, have a little look, see what you think. Yes, I quite like that. Let's go with the crushed curry. Okay, so we'll just snip a little bit of that off. And we can start putting it all together. So at this point I would pull out mini glue dots. These are ones that have been left over from a paper pumpkin kit that I had. And some Stampin' Dimensionals. So we'll start with putting this piece of stamped card onto my old olive layer with multi-purpose liquid glue. gives me the option to make sure it's level before I actually stick it down properly. We'll put some mini glue dots on the back of that ribbon. There we go. Oops. There we go. There's my ribbon. Then I will put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that. I do tend to put quite a few Stampin' Dimensionals on my projects because I like them to stay nice and firm. And we'll pull off the backing. Okay, so that's that. So now I have a very vanilla card base made with thick, very vanilla card, and I will just get that into place. Make sure it's nice and level. And now I can put on my leaves. So a little bit of tombow. It only needs a drop. It really doesn't need very much at all. Let's put that one there. Put that one up there like that. I think I want a leaf to go under there, so I'm going to very quickly stamp another one. So stamp off, stamp it down there, some more old olive ink there. There we go. And there's my third leaf. We'll just punch that out. Using my leaf punch. There it goes. And again, a little bit of tombow, just a dot. And we'll put that one just under there like that. Okay, and then with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, I'll just stick my sunflower over the top. And there we go. So there is the front of the card. And then for the inside, I will just use another piece of very vanilla card. And I think I'll stamp just part of that image in the corner, and I'll do the same on a very vanilla envelope. So I started with crushed curry and the main image. So I'm going to stamp it down in the corner there. I'm going to do the same on my very vanilla medium envelope. Get two of them done at once. There's that. Pull out the pumpkin pie again. And the detailed stamp. Just get that lined up. There we go. And then the early espresso. centre. There we are, so that's that done. Close up my ink pads because I have a habit of putting my arm in them. And then a little bit of Tombow glue just around the edge of that piece. It comes out. Really doesn't take much. Open up my card and there's the inside. Okay, so there we are. That's how I would go about designing a card. It really is a bit of hit and miss. Choose some colours, choose a stamp set, and then just play and see what comes out. I hope that's been helpful, and I hope to see you again soon.